Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be presenting at this conference again. I'll touch on the key points of Sunstone during the presentation. There's a lot of detail behind it, so we welcome you to visit our booth and dive into some of the detail behind what we're doing. I will be making forward-looking statements. We're an optimistic exploration company, but there's good reason for being optimistic. So let's have a quick look at Sunstone. Ecuador focused, so our business is completely in Ecuador, and copper and gold focused. We're exploring for porphyry copper gold deposits, and we're exploring for epithermal gold silver deposits. Our market capitalisation is ranging between $80 and $100 million. Our funding position is strong. We completed a placement of $12 million last week, primarily to institutional investors, family offices and sophisticated investors. So we're in a strong position to implement the work program that we have laid out in front of us. Top 20 shareholding is about 40% of the company, and board and management are sitting at about 5%. So we're very much aligned with all shareholders in the company. So we've got two projects, one in the south called Brama-Alba-opportunities, one in the north called El Palmar. I'll go through each of those in a bit of detail. But what's the investment opportunity? Put very simply is that discovery adds huge value. And fortunately, the team at Sunstone has been involved in a couple of these discoveries in the past with other companies. So in 2008, we were involved in a company called Intrepid Mines that made a very large discovery in Indonesia, porphyry with an epithermal system sitting over the top of it. And that company went from a 50 million market cap to over $1 billion in about 18 months. The team at Sunstone was also involved in the early days of SolGold's discovery of Cascabel in northern Ecuador. And again, that company went from a 50 million British pounds market cap through to nearly $1 billion, again in a period of about 18 months. And that was a combination of the discovery and the awareness by majors, BHP and Newcrest, that this was a significant discovery, and they invested in that company. So discovery adds huge value, and that's underpinning the work that we're doing at Sunstone. And we're delivering on those discoveries. So in late 2021, we made some preliminary discoveries at both of these projects, and we saw a six-fold increase in our share price. So we are hoping to deliver that again during 2023, and you'll see from the next lot of slides how we're going to do that. So at Brama-Alba-opportunities, we've currently got 2 rigs operating, and at El Palmar we've got 1 rig operating. So that money that's been invested in the company is primarily going into the ground, drilling and other exploration activities, so that we can move through and deliver on our goals for 2023. Just briefly on Ecuador, there's a lot of detail in this slide, but some of the key points. Ecuador is pro-mining, so they've encouraged foreign direct investment, and that's seen by companies such as BHP, Newcrest, Anglo, Barrick, and maybe Newmont in the future, are all investing in Ecuador. And that's on the back of some significant discoveries, and those discoveries aren't a surprise because the Andean copper belt that runs from Chile up through Peru extends into Ecuador, and Ecuador hasn't seen nearly the level of exploration that those other countries have seen. And so over the next 5 to 10 years, there'll be many significant discoveries. There's 2 modern operating mines in Ecuador, Fruta del Norte, operated by Lundin Gold, one of the best gold deposits in the world. 10 gram per tonne underground mine, all in sustaining cost of $800 an ounce, and they're pushing out nearly 500,000 ounces of gold a year. A very, very good operation, very responsibly done. They're essentially in the headwaters of the Amazon, and they get huge community and government support for that operation. It's a big contributor to the income of the Ecuadorian government. Mirador, that's a large open pit porphyry operation where they produce a concentrate that is trucked from the southeastern portion of Ecuador across to the coast, not far from our Brama-Alba-opportunities project, and that concentrate goes off to smelters in China. So these are modern mines that are strongly supported. The next group of projects, a couple of examples there, Cascabel, the SolGold operation in northern Ecuador, and Warintza, which is a very large porphyry opportunity, greater than 1 billion tonnes, located not far from Mirador. So you will see Ecuador evolve its mining industry over the next 5 to 10 years to be one of the largest contributors to income for the Ecuadorian people. ESG considered across our business. It's part of our business. It's ingrained. We're doing a lot of work. Happy to talk to you about the detail of that if you come and visit us at the booth. But the key takeaway here is that we expect in the fourth quarter of this year we'll produce our first sustainability report, and that will demonstrate to you all the good work we're doing with local communities, environmental issues, employment, putting a lot of money back into the local community, and really working in partnership with local, provincial and national stakeholders. Okay, so Bramaderos, let's talk about that project. It's located in southern Ecuador. Its location is valuable. So its location is 1.5 hour drive on the Pan-American Highway, a good quality bitumen road, from the commercial airport at Loja. So very easy to get to. There's integrated power network. 93% of Ecuador's power is renewable. So this location is valuable, and you'll see from photos that I'll show in a minute that it's very amenable to a mining development. We're only at 900 metres above sea level, so we haven't got any of the high altitude Andean issues that you see in Chile and Peru. Okay, so this image is a majority of our concession, and it shows gold in soil. So the warm colours is where there's more gold, the weaker colours is where the gold values drop off. So you can see there's a cluster of gold opportunities, and these are gold-rich porphyry deposits. Limon up in the northeast, that's where we're drilling at the moment. That's delivered some very exciting results recently and headlined with 177 metres at 1.1 grams gold equivalent. That's gold plus silver from surface. We've also got a porphyry system at Limon, which has delivered up to 100 metres at nearly 1 gram gold equivalent, gold, copper plus silver. So that's a highly rated target at the moment. Brama-Alba, you can see in the centre there, that's where our mineral resource estimate comes from, which I'll talk about in a minute. Lots of opportunity to increase that mineral resource and exploration target in that area. Melanal, you can see right next to Alba. That's another opportunity that's incorporated in the exploration target. And then Portillo and Plias, we haven't drilled holes there yet. We've just started a hole at Plias, but neither of those have been included in our exploration target. So the upside potential from Bramaderos is very significant, and we're going to deliver on that in 2023. This was our initial mineral resource. We put this out in December last year. 2.7 million ounces gold equivalent, so that's made up of gold, copper and silver. It was conservative, it was pit constrained, undertaken by Tier 1 consulting group CSA, and there's extensions to this that are incorporated into our exploration target. It's low grade, and so the takeaway from this resource is where can we go within the Bramaderos concession to deliver higher grades to enable us to have that option of a higher grade front end so that when this eventually gets developed, we'll be in a position to pay back capital a lot more quickly, and then all of this other large resource will flow through once we're in that position. This is what Brama and Alba look like. They're positive topographic features, so initial mining is actually mining a hill, therefore very low strip ratios. You can see that it's actually quite arid in the southern part of Ecuador. Goat and cattle country, and then on the lower levels, agriculture with corn and peanuts. Opportunities for higher grade domains. So we've got that opportunity at Limon, but at Brama itself, hole 34, for example, drilled on the Alba end of that system, 200 metres at 0.86 grams. So that's considerably higher than the resource grade, and there's a number of these opportunities within this resource where we can do more drilling to increase that grade. And I've got a table down there just for context. We look at grades of other large porphyry systems, Cadia, for example, in New South Wales, gold equivalent grade of just under 0.8. Alpala in northern Ecuador, gold equivalent grades of 0.5 to 0.8. Now, admittedly, it has a very high-grade core, but that high-grade core is at a depth of between 600 and 800 metres below surface. Remember, all of our mineralisation is outcropping at surface. Tandayama, America, next to Cascabel, a low-grade deposit. Boddington, 0.7 grams per tonne gold equivalent, so a large deposit in WA. And then Boda and Kaiser in New South Wales, where they're undertaking additional drilling, they're trying to increase resources, they're looking at studies. That's grading a very similar grade to what we've defined here. So at large tonnages and with attractive strip ratios, these porphyry deposits that operate at minimum 7 million tonne per year plants and more likely 30 or 40 million tonne per year plants are very attractive at these grades. They become big earth-moving exercises. So how are we going to grow it? So our initial exploration target, this is in addition to our mineral resource estimate. So we put a range of between 3.3 and 8.6 million ounces gold equivalent, comprising gold, copper and silver, at tonnages between 250 and 360 million tonnes. So our aim is to grow it, and we've gone public and said we see this as a 10 million ounce gold equivalent district, as you can see, over a cluster of a number of deposits. And what we're looking for now is the high-grade front end. Where do we think we're going to find it? We identified Limon. We went there, we drilled holes, and we announced 177 metres at 1.1 grams gold equivalent, gold plus silver. So we've identified it, we've drilled it, and we've delivered it. Now comes the follow-up. So this is what Limon looks like. A view to the northeast. You can see those hills there. They're poorly vegetated. That's because they're altered. That's because they contain gold and silver. They're altered with clay and silica and other things that you expect to see in the upper levels of a porphyry. This is what it looks like in plan. So you can see there hole 17. That's what we're following up at the moment. So we are expecting assay results from holes 21 and 22 to be delivered towards the end of this month or early June, followed by holes 23, 24, which will be back later June, early July, and then we're currently following up on those holes as well. So we'll have a good idea of the scale of this opportunity very quickly by early July. You can also see there hole 10. This was into a porphyry, so we're getting porphyries and epithermal sitting beside one another, and both of them delivering greater than a gram gold equivalent from surface. So this is our best opportunity for a high-grade front end of this system. It'll deliver into a, we expect, increased mineral resource estimate, but the first stage will be an increased exploration target. Okay, so let's go to the north, El Palmar. This is in northern Ecuador. Again, a great location, 3 hours drive from Quito, capital city of Ecuador. Again, a good power network, hydropower. There's a facility just down the road from where we're exploring. But importantly, we're on this regional geological belt, and that belt contains Cascabel, a 3 billion tonne porphyry deposit. This is what it looks like. There's a cluster. We've identified 5 so far, 5 porphyry opportunities. We've drilled now on 4 of them. So T1, 21 drill holes. That will have a gold copper resource. We've drilled 21 holes, all mineralised. We've got more work to do, so a little while before we put together a resource, but that's a mineralised system from surface. T5, 1 drill hole into it, 60 metres at over 0.4 grams gold equivalent, so that's well mineralised. T2, copper, gold and moly at surface. We chased T2 to the south, and we've now intersected a porphyry system in T3. This is very exciting. So let's move to okay, so a bit to unpack in this diagram. T1, purple, mineralised, and green is the low-grade halo that sits around it. T2 is red and yellow sitting at surface. That's gold and copper mineralisation. The big blue blob in the middle of that image, that was a geophysical target that we were drilling for T2 depth. We drilled that. It was mineralised over an extent of 800 metres. And as we pushed the hole deeper into that, we got into a significant porphyry copper system, no assays yet, drilled into T3. So you can see T3 is that purple through to yellow set of contours on the lower right-hand side of that graphic. So we're ranging from things like 900 metres of vertical extent of mineralisation in T1 through to potentially a kilometre of mineralisation in T3. So, okay, so luckily there's only 2 more slides. Bear with me. Okay, that's the drill hole. That's the geophysical target. Assays on that one are expected during June. So watch this space and come to the booth and I can give you a detailed description of the porphyry. And this is what's coming up. Limon discoveries, higher grade front end, increased exploration target, ultimately lead into an increased mineral resource and a new discovery at El Palmar, all of which add serious value, which I mentioned at the outset of the presentation. So thanks for your time and thanks for the extra.